The chief of the Fort William First Nation speaks out on swing bridge delays. New developments in the Resolute Sawmill safety shutdown. And explosive new allegations in the Senate expenses scandal. Good evening and thank you for being with us. Frustration continues to build for people who use the James Street Swing Bridge and businesses who rely on it for customers.
And it looks like it will still be weeks before any timeline for a reopening becomes clear. After weeks of silence, officials at CN Rail contacted the chief of the Fort William First Nation today to set up a meeting for December 5th. And Georgianne Morisseau says she doesn't anticipate the bridge opening until sometime after that meeting. The reality of an extended closure has the First Nation looking at backup plans. Morisseau says next month's meeting should provide a more firm timeline for a reopening to vehicular and pedestrian traffic. The First Nation is looking at the possibility of having more city buses going to and from the community. There have also been discussions about having on-site ambulance and fire service if the swing bridge is shut down for an extended period of time. The chief says she's disappointed there has been no work on the bridge, especially given how quickly the rail line was repaired.
I understand and appreciate that there's, it costs a lot of money. It's very expensive to have trains idle and wait, but at the same time, the expense of health and safety, there's no dollar amount that you can put on that. And again, that's our first priority, is ensuring that our community is safe. They have fair and adequate access to health and safety services.
Morisseau also feels it may be time to install temporary lights at the junction of Highway 61 and Chippewa Road. She has safety concerns for cyclists, pedestrians, and motorists, given the increased traffic at the turnoff.
The Resolute Sawmill on the Fort William First Nation remains closed tonight. The operation was put on a so-called safety break by the company yesterday, following the third workplace accident this year. A meeting between management, staff, and the union is underway at this hour. Officials with Unifor, the union, which represents 200 workers at the sawmill, are calling it a bizarre situation, and they plan to file several grievances. Nearly all of the employees were suspended without pay yesterday afternoon following a meeting about the sawmill's recent string of workplace injuries. Resolute spokesperson Xavier Van Chow says the length of the shutdown remains indefinite.
The mill management have been meeting today, reviewing health and safety policies, reviewing planning, thinking about training options, etc. And they are scheduling a meeting for late today with the union so that we can meet and kind of discuss next steps.
Van Chow says the company still hasn't made a decision on whether staff will be paid for any part of the shutdown, however long it may last. We'll have more information for you tonight on our late edition news.
Frank Iacobucci says the time for talk has passed. The former Supreme Court Justice delivered an update on his report to the provincial government today regarding the lack of on-reserve First Nations representation in Ontario juries. He also addressed some of the issues surrounding the delays in getting Gladue reports written for Aboriginal offenders. Cheryl Holmes has more.
Frank Iacobucci addressed a group of hundreds of legal and community representatives at Day 2 of the Anishinaabe Justice Summit. He gave an update on his report about the legal representation of on-reserve First Nations people in Ontario juries. His report included input from people on the reserve who are his original inspiration for the report.
I found that this was not just a question of representation on juries, but it's a fundamental issue relating to the justice system in the eyes of First Nations people.
Iacobucci says First Nations people don't trust the justice system. More than one representative of NAN voiced their opinion that they were done being treated like second-class citizens in the legal system. Iacobucci says the implementation committee has met 3 times now, and he's glad to see that things are moving forward to change this mentality. But he notes this is the time for action, not for talk, and that relationships need to be fixed now and respectfully.
We have to build that. We can't just proclaim it. We just can't utter it, announce it. We have to have, by our actions and deeds, improve that relationship through mutual trust and respect, and through a government-to-government relationship with our First Nations communities.
Iacobucci says this can't be done in a courtroom. It needs to start at a far more fundamental level. He also spoke about his concerns with the Gladue reports. The sentencing hearings in several Thunder Bay criminal cases have been delayed this year due to the lack of Gladue report writers. He says the underlying issue is that more resources are needed to speed up the system.
Freedom and liberty, in effect, are absolutely crucial in our society, and resources just have to be found to deal with that kind of an issue.
In Iacobucci's words, if you have one day of your life lost, it can't be recovered. No amount of compensation can make up for the freedom that was taken away. He says we have to find a way to better implement the Gladue reports and give judges the tools to make sure that the individual charged is treated fairly and appropriately. Cheryl Holmes, TBT News.
The Anishinaabe Police Services charged a 21-year-old woman with second-degree murder following a death at the Casablanca Lake First Nation. Police responded to a reported altercation in the community on Sunday night. The 22-year-old woman had been transported to receive medical treatment and later succumbed to her injuries. The OPP's Criminal Investigations Branch has been called in to assist with the investigation. Both the accused and the victim are from Casablanca Lake First Nation. The cause of death has not yet been released and the investigation is ongoing.
By spring of 2014, you may see fewer parking meters in our city, but that doesn't mean there will be fewer metered spaces, just fewer machines. The Parking Authority is preparing to replace single-space meters in a number of city-owned parking lots with one new multi-space meter, which can service an entire lot. The plan will be unveiled slowly, starting with just 6 lots, including a couple off Red River Road and at the new courthouse. Parking Authority Manager James Cody says, among other benefits, it means no more scrambling for loose change.
The multi-space units will give our customers other options that we can't offer them now, and options in terms of payment. So they will most likely be able to take credit card, debit card payment options. And the units help by removing infrastructure. Having a lot of parking meters around, you put one unit in a parking lot, you only have to maintain one unit, collect from one unit.
Cody says they initially discussed replacing even on-street meters with new multi-space units, but decided that would be too costly. They carry a price tag of up to $10,000 per unit. Instead, the plan is to install new single-space meters to replace some of the city's outdated ones, but those new units will not accept credit cards.
A recent survey has found a large amount of support for the potential relocation of the Thunder Bay Art Gallery to the city's waterfront. Now, the gallery board is asking the public what their vision and ideas are for the new site if indeed it does move ahead. An ideas exchange was held this afternoon to get some feedback on how to keep people coming back. A business plan for the new gallery is being developed. Director Sharon Goodwin says that they know operating a bigger facility on the waterfront will be more expensive, and that means finding more revenues.
The first responsibility we have is to the art, but it's very easy to have concerts, interpretive dance, multidisciplinary arts activities in an art gallery, as well as outside the facility. We hope that we'll have some plaza spaces.
Godwin also believes there are opportunities to collaborate with for different programming with others on the waterfront. Another meeting is set to go tonight at the gallery. It will run from 7 until 9.
If you've driven along Waterloo Street over the past few months, you've probably noticed the new strip mall style building that's gone up next to Tim Hortons. It's actually the first of 3 similar properties being built along that corridor. Jack Mullen of Royal LePage Lannon Realty says Subway is already on board as the first tenant, and he's in conversation with a couple other businesses as well. So why build before all the tenants are in place? Mullen calls it an investment in a booming neighborhood.
This artery right here is probably the 4th or 5th highest traffic in the city of Thunder Bay. I mean, it's an exit and an entrance into right across the city. You can get right across the city from here. It's a high traffic area. This is a business decision. It may take a little while to get it going, but once people are in here, they're not leaving.
This first building should be move-in ready early in the new year. There is still no firm timeline as to when the other 2 will be built. However, the in-ground infrastructure is already in place. The property was formerly used as a railway spur line for unloading rail cars.
It's that time of year when grade 12 students start weighing their options for post-secondary education. Over 400 students gathered at Confederation College today to take a tour and see firsthand the programs the college has to offer. High school students from across the city got the chance to have one-on-one conversations with coordinators in the programs of their interest. The college offers over 50 post-secondary programs. And for the first time, Northern College's Haileybury School of Mines and Mining is set to expand to Confederation next fall. Marjorie Kinnunen is one of the event organizers. She says the open house only happens once a year and they want to make it as fun as possible.
Well, because it is about an education, for sure, but beyond that, it's about that experience, about the relationships that you'll make while you're here, about the things that you'll do outside of the classroom. It's about that whole community feeling. So it is about energy and it is about excitement.
Kinnunen says the event grows every year and it's also a chance to hear from high school students about what they're looking for after graduation.
Dalico Anishinaabe Family Care is asking you to help bring a Merry Christmas to children in need. This year's Christmas Wish Bag campaign was launched today to help fill 600 gift bags for a deserving boy or girl. The campaign came as a response to a call for help from Santa's head elves. The gifts will help make the holiday season brighter for children and families who find this to be a difficult time of year. Organizers say families aren't always able to prepare for the Christmas season. So because of that, Dalico is welcoming any donation of Christmas gifts from local businesses, organizations, and families.
You'll get a bag with a label on it that tells you how old the child is, the sex of the child, and what they're interested in, so that you're able to take that bag and fill it with things that would be appropriate for that child.
I'm picking up 65 bags today as part of our reaching out to people in our community. At Redwood Park Church, we're all about reaching out to our city and helping those that maybe are less fortunate than a lot of us may be.
People can fill the bags with clothing, toys, or learning tools that suit the description of the child. Businesses and individuals are welcome to register by December 14th to fill a bag. There are 4 locations, including Inner City Shopping Center, where people can register. More information is available on the Dalico website.
Well, weather-wise, Fiona, a pleasantly mild day today. For those wanting some snow, though, you might not have too long to wait.
Yeah, at this time of year, it can change just like that, and that seems to be the case across the region. We had some precipitation move through, and for Thunder Bay, it was more along the rain sort with all that mild temperature. But as you can see, just to the west of us and a little bit further north, have freezing rain and snow, and that is what is on the way over the next few hours. There it is. Yeah, see if you can grab it really quick. Okay, we did top out with a high of 7 Celsius under mainly cloudy skies, but it was that flow from the south-southwest, even with winds gusting up to 41 kilometers per hour. It was warm out there, very unusual. And if we take a look across the region at this hour, we're just slightly below that daytime high. Thunder Bay is currently at 5 Celsius. Clouds pretty much across the board, but you can see the mild temperatures dropping quite quickly. Just have to head just a little ways westward. Red Lake at this hour is at -7, Kenora -4, and that's why instead of rain, the folks to the west are dealing with potential snow. And just a little bit further eastward, Greenstone and Marathon currently at 3 and 4 Celsius. It's very strange weather we are having. But Thunder Bay is going to drop down to a low of 2. And unfortunately, it's not -2. It's on the plus side, which means if you're looking for snow, well, you're going to get it tonight. We are expecting a couple of centimeters, but not going to likely stick around with temperatures above the freezing mark and that continued south-southwest flow. However, potential for snow continues not only from tonight, well into Friday. So yes, we're in the range of a whole 2 centimeters over the next little while, but there is the potential for it, and every snowflake is going to make that added difference. And then as we head into the weekend, well, then once again, it's been happening all week, up and down with those temperatures. And we're definitely on a downward slide for the weekend. We've got some very cold air moving in, which means if there is any more precipitation on the way, odds are pretty good. It will come in the form of the white stuff instead of the wet stuff, but I'll have more details on that later on the news hour.
All right, thanks very much, Fiona. Well, a new police report has reignited debate over the Senate expenses scandal. We'll have the latest on that story and more for you as your Wednesday news hour continues. Stay with us.
The Prime Minister still believe that he bears no responsibility for the corruption in his own office.
Explosive new court documents released today show that the RCMP is investigating the Prime Minister's former Chief of Staff, Nigel Wright, alleging he broke the law.
The investigation also points to a wider role for the Prime Minister's office in the management of the deal to pay off Mike Duffy's $90,000 debt. Julie Van Dusen reports.
The RCMP alleges that Nigel Wright, the former Chief of Staff to Prime Minister Stephen Harper, has committed bribery, frauds on the government, and breach of trust. The offenses relate to Wright's payment of $90,000 to former Conservative Senator Mike Duffy over his faulty expense claims. The RCMP combed through hundreds of thousands of emails between the Prime Minister's staff and key players in their attempt to mitigate the damage. One shows that the party fundraiser, Senator Irving Gerstein, was asked by PMO to speak to a contact at auditing firm Deloitte to see if the audit could be stopped if Duffy repaid the money. When the audit went ahead, the RCMP alleged the PMO directed Conservative senators, including Carolyn Stewart Olson, David Tkachuk, and Marjorie Le Breton, to go easy on Duffy and make the problem go away. The senators said they did nothing to protect Senator Duffy. The RCMP doesn't believe them.
It's under police investigation.
Could you tell us?
That's their story. I have my story.
Well, I'm sorry if they don't believe I answered all their questions honestly.
As to the Prime Minister and what he knew, according to Nigel Wright in an email to a colleague, the PM knows in broad terms only that I personally assisted Duffy when I was getting him to agree to repay the expenses. So Corporal Horton concludes, I have seen no evidence to suggest that the Prime Minister was personally involved in the minutiae of these matters. The opposition says in spite of that, there's no way Stephen Harper could not have known.
As to whether or not he knew that Nigel Wright had personally assisted Mike Duffy. Can he tell Canadians what he knew?
Does the Prime Minister still believe that he bears no responsibility for the corruption in his own office?
Mr. Duffy and Mr. Wright are under investigation for their actions in this matter, and they have also confirmed that this Prime Minister has been telling exactly the truth.
No charges have been laid. None of the allegations have been proven in court. And a lawyer for Nigel Wright says Wright remains confident that his actions were lawful. Julie Van Dusen, CBC News, Ottawa.
In the wake of some high-profile teenage suicides, the federal government is introducing anti-bullying legislation that makes it illegal to distribute intimate images without the consent of the subject. The proposed law would also make it easier to get those images off the internet by allowing courts to seize computers, cell phones, and other devices used in the offense. Justice Peter MacKay says cyberbullying can destroy lives, and it is the government's responsibility to ensure the consequences of online harassment are severe enough to help put an end to the practice. Pressure has been building for years over Iran's nuclear program, bringing sanctions and even the threat of war. But today in Geneva, negotiators from 6 nations, including the U.S., sat down with Iran for talks that could lead to a breakthrough. Neil McDonald has the story.
Just about everyone involved in the talks with Iran seems to think a satisfactory deal is in the offing.
It is the best chance for a long time to make progress on one of the gravest problems in foreign policy.
Under the proposal, says the White House, Iran would cease and roll back its nuclear program over an initial 6-month period. Tehran would also submit to international inspection and verification. The quid pro quo would be a loosening of the sanctions that have been progressively choking Iran's economy for years.
What we would do would be to open up the spigot a little bit for a very modest amount of relief that is entirely subject to reinstatement.
Iran's foreign minister said yesterday that his country is not giving up its right to generate peaceful nuclear energy.
For us, nuclear energy is about securing the future of our children, about diversifying our economy, about stopping the burning of our oil, and about generating clean power.
And Iran's supreme leader publicly insisted on support for the diplomacy.
It's a bad deal, an exceedingly bad deal.
But Israel, which has not admitted the existence of its nuclear arsenal, fears the emergence of a second nuclear power in the region. it wants to increase, not decrease, Iran's economic misery.
It's important that they surrender to the pressure that can be brought to them to have them abandon their nuclear weapons program.
And Israel's supporters here in the U.S. have been lobbying accordingly, pushing Congress for even tougher sanctions. For now, though, the answer is no. At President Obama's request, the Senate has decided to give negotiations more time. Neil McDonald, CBC News, Washington.
A new sort of normality is returning to some parts of the Philippines that were wrecked by Typhoon Haiyan. This is one of the largest markets in Tacloban. That city took a direct hit from the typhoon. The market is now open for the first time since the disaster, but most prices are roughly double what they used to be. Now, in more remote parts of the Philippines, efforts are underway to reach communities that have been cut off for 12 days now. Canada is playing a key role in that part of the recovery effort. Susan Ormiston is with the Canadian Military Mission.
Canada's Griffin helicopters have now arrived at Rojas Airport in the Philippines. The crew are from 408 Squadron in Edmonton. There is a third Griffin on its way to the Philippines. Essentially, they are going to be taking humanitarian aid with the DART team to places that can't be accessed by road. There are hundreds of islands around here. They'll be traveling with the mobile medical teams, delivering aid, also bringing in units like mobile water purification teams, dropping them into islands which can't be accessed so far. The crews arrived a couple of days ago. They did all their safety checks, and now they're ready for operations and will be deployed probably as of tomorrow. DART continues its work here on the ground with engineers fixing generators at hospitals and clearing down power lines from the roads here. The medical clinics are also up and running at evacuation centers where people are still staying without shelter. The real key thing now in the Philippines is getting shelter for the hundreds of thousands of people who are homeless and have nowhere to go. Susan Ormiston, CBC News in Roja, the Philippines.
They were once a centerpiece in homes across North America, but down the decades, the piano has seen a decline in popularity. Catherine Cullen introduces us to a Montreal man who is hoping to reverse the trend.
This one beside us here has been abandoned, so that's why I like to refer to the SPCA of pianos. Because
as a piano mover, Tom Rebello comes across a lot of unwanted pianos. And like stray dogs, a few have captured his heart.
I just love the carving and the detail on the work.
So he's offering them up, free to a good home. He's hoping to save these century-old instruments from the trash heap.
So this piano's in great shape. The only problem with these pianos is that they're big, and people don't want big pianos anymore.
And these orphans do need their new owners to invest in some love and care. We asked piano tuner Marie-France Paribault to take a look for us.
It's a gorgeous instrument, for sure. It sounds terrible.
Pianos used to be a fixture in many family homes, and playing them was considered an important skill. Rebello figures early last century there were at least 10 manufacturers in Montreal alone. Now, there's none left in Canada.
These were responding to a huge demand, which is no longer there because now people have moved on to, PlayStation 4 is the latest thing this year.
He says those who are looking to buy often prefer cheaper, foreign-made pianos. But for these recording engineers, the sound of an old, free piano is too good to pass up. They've settled on a favorite.
The bass is kind of weird right now, but maybe we can fix it. Yeah, we're gonna try to fix it. Really cool, in good shape also.
Because sometimes when it comes to sound and sentimental value, a classic is hard to beat. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Montreal.
Carol Harris of St. John, New Brunswick is living proof it's never too late for love. Harris got married this week for the very first time at the age of 83. Now, the groom is a childhood friend. They both shared their first kiss way back in 1939 when he played a prince in a school production of Beauty and the Beast. As Rachel Cave found out, the bride says in real life, she'd nearly given up on a fairy tale ending.
And then it's so unusual now to feel this one.
Carol Harris is still getting used to the wedding band on her finger.
However, I always felt that I'd like to be married up until last April. And last April, I finally gave up. I said, this is ridiculous.
And then, within weeks, George Raines showed up, and they can't keep those hands off each other.
What's it like to be married at 18 or 20? It's exciting, a lot of fun.
Raines and Harris grew up together starting from grade 1. In high school, they both washed dishes in the school cafeteria. After graduation, Raines moved to Ontario, got married, and raised 3 boys. Then his wife of 61 years passed away.
It has a terrible effect on you when you're used to having a companion. It's really, really hard to do without it.
As a widower, Raines made a trip to New Brunswick this year and reunited with Harris. They grew fond of each other all over again. Soon, he popped the question.
Yes! Well, that was my answer.
The ceremony was packed. Raines says Harris is hugely popular. A longtime retired school teacher, choir leader, and church organist, she has no shortage of friends, he says. Harris's cousin, Leslie Howard, gave the bride away. So when the minister asked who gives the bride away, you said, I do, and then suddenly you heard,
we do too.
It was Harris's choir chiming in.
They were here. They were singing, okay, in the service. When I said, I do, they said spontaneously, we do too.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Harris says she plans to enjoy every minute of married life. Each day is a gift, she says.
There's somebody who comes and says, oh, here you are. I'm happy that you're back.
Etc.
It's altogether different coming into a house. And this has made a house, a home.
Rachel Cave, CBC News, St. John.
Well, it turns out the kids may not be all right after all. A new study says children today are less fit than their parents. The research shows that they can't run as fast or as far as the previous generation. The Australian study looked at 25 million kids from the 1960s through 2010. It found an 18% drop-off in cardiovascular fitness levels, and the stats stand up worldwide.
Something else dropping off the major markets in North America today. Let's take a look at the numbers. In Toronto, the TSX slipped 12 points to 13,430. The Dow fell 66 to 15,900. And the Nasdaq down 10 points to 39.21. The Canadian dollar gained over 0.2 cents, finishing the day at 95.72 cents U.S. Gold down $15 to $1,258 an ounce. And oil held steady, $93 a barrel. Regular viewers will remember that we promised fans a pretty good game at the Fort William Gardens last night. Turns out we weren't wrong.
Yeah, they definitely delivered. The North Stars and Fort Francis. I wouldn't mind seeing these two teams tango in the championship, SIJHL championship, and that could very well happen. And first, though, we'll update you on your Lake University Thunderwolves. They have vaulted up from 8th to 6th in this week's CIS hockey rankings. They put a 7-game winning streak on the line Friday night in Oshawa against Ontario Tech, who are 3-7-1. And in what could prove to be a preview of the SIJHL final, the Thunder Bay North Stars snapped the Fort Francis Lakers' 15-game winning streak last night at the Gardens. Mike Albanese has your highlights.
The Fort Francis Lakers are at the Fort William Gardens taking on your hometown Thunder Bay North Stars. The Lakers are coming into this game riding a 15-game win streak. First period, how's this for making a statement? Matthias Gardeman takes it all the way from his own end and beats Lakers netminder glove side on the very first shot of the game, 46 seconds into the first period. A few minutes later, the North Stars at it again with a quick breakout and a lucky bounce. Zach Grzelewski ends up with a potential breakaway. No mistake, Grzelewski goes far side. The Stars now scoring 2 goals on their first 3 shots. Just after the halfway mark of the period, Lakers on a power play. Cody Wickstrom sets up Kyle Lipinski and wants the puck right back. Look at him call for it. Lipinski elects to shoot. Hey, you can't be mad at that result. The first period would end 2-1 North Stars. Second period, after the Lakers tied it up 30 seconds in, Gardeman answers it, stepping into a loose puck and showing the Lakers the backhand isn't dead. How about that shelf? Lakers not out of it yet, though. They would respond, making it 3-3, and who better to retaliate but Gardeman, cleaning up a rebound for his 3rd of the night. Gardeman graced by a flurry of hats after making it 4-3 North Stars. The Lakers would tie it up and overtime solved nothing, so to the shootout we go. Trevor Hines puts the North Stars in a position to win if goalie Nathaniel Dupuis stops the Lakers, and he does. The North Stars win 5-4 and the 15-game streak ends for the Lakers. Mike Albanese, TBT Sports.
Well, 4 games in the NHL tonight. Ottawa will host Minnesota. It's Ovechkin against Crosby as Pittsburgh welcomes Washington, and Columbus will be in Calgary. Checking out last night's action. Great start for the Maple Leafs. 22 seconds into the game, Joffrey Lupul's pass out tucked in by Trevor Smith. That's his 3rd of the season on Kevin Poulin. Second period, even a bout with the flu wouldn't slow down Phil Kessel. The former Boston Bruin counts his team leading 11th. He would add a 12th later in the game. Casey Cizikas will block a Cody Franson shot with 11 seconds left in the period. He'll put the nice deke on Jonathan Bernier. And we had a game at 2-1. 3 minutes into the third, Jay McClement puts a loose puck on net. Mason Raymond shovels in the rebound for his 8th. Toronto goes on to take it 5-2. In Philadelphia, Sean Couturier finally gets his first of the season as the Flyers trip up the Senators 5-2. In Edmonton, Jordan Eberle redirects a point shot. The Oilers hammer the Blue Jackets 7-0. In Vancouver, Jonathan Huberdeau undresses Roberto Luongo. This would be the only goal of the shootout. Panthers upset the Canucks 3-2. And in Montreal, Max Pacioretty with a hat trick as the Habs humble the Wild 6-2. Nashville, Boston, St. Louis, Colorado, and Los Angeles won their games. Well, 41 years ago, Paul Henderson scored perhaps the biggest goal in Canadian hockey history, lifting Team Canada past the Soviet Union in the 1972 Summit Series. Now a new generation can relive those special memories on a new website. We get the details in this report.
It was down to the final seconds of the final period in a hard-fought 8-game series between Canada and the Soviet Union.
Here's a shot! Henderson made a wild stab towards Bell. Here's another shot! Right, score!
A shining moment in Canadian history that would go on to become known as the most famous hockey goal ever. A victory shared by Canadians coast to coast, but an intimate moment for the man behind the puck. Paul Henderson's dad had died just a few years earlier.
When the last goal went over the line, I actually said out loud, Dad would have loved this one. There was a nanosecond of melancholy. And then, of course, I jumped into Cornway's arms and been celebrating for 41 years.
He says he never gets tired of being asked about the goal. But most people don't ask, they tell.
They want to tell me where they were, what they were doing, who they were with, and how they felt. And so I just sit back and listen to stories.
We all skipped off of high school, and we went to my buddy's house, and we just watched the game, and it was just amazing. You never forget something like that.
That was a big deal to us. Like, everything closed down. Schools, businesses, and it was a wonderful thing.
Now a new, exhaustive website has been launched to bring every highlight, every stat together in one place.
Our team wants to leave something for the new generation, the generations that didn't actually get to watch the series live.
Ron Ellis says it is the ultimate comeback story. After a poor start to the series, they had to win the last 3 games in a row to claim victory. And the pressure was on. It was about more than hockey. Those were the Cold War years.
We felt a real burden, if you like, or pressure to represent democracy, represent our freedom.
Known as Canada's Team of the Century, the players went on to become great friends. Now together, standing once again behind one of their own, as Henderson battles cancer. He's doing well after taking part in a clinical trial in the U.S.
We take today and we're going to enjoy today. And if tomorrow shows up, we'll take a shot at tomorrow.
For 41 years, Team Canada players have been legends. It's time, they say, to leave a legacy. Christina Stevens, Global News, Toronto.
Kathy Jackson's Northern Ontario rank is 1 and 2 at the Dominion Club Curling Championships at the Fort William Curling Club. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Ontario are unbeaten. Over on the men's side, Saskatchewan and BC have yet to lose. And Ken Austin won a pair of Grey Cups as a quarterback and head coach for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Now he returns as the head coach in Hamilton, hoping to spoil the party in Regina Sunday night.
A blustery -29 with wind chill.
Yay, Saskatchewan!
But it's still not enough to scare away these football fans in Regina.
So you're actually a pretty skinny guy. This is just a lot of...
This is, yeah.
They're bundling up. So too are the players. The Hamilton Tiger Cats huddled next to the heaters at today's practice. And most festivities are moving indoors. The arrival of the coveted Grey Cup kicks off 4 days of celebration that fans here will relish. For the first time ever, the revered Rough Riders have a chance to win the cup in front of their hometown crowd.
We're really, really big fans, really excited. Won't sleep, haven't been sleeping well. Won't sleep that morning. I'm sure I'll be up at 5 in the morning pacing.
The return of this man also has people riled up. Kent Austin is the coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but he won the Grey Cup twice in Saskatchewan. First as the quarterback in 1989, then as the head coach in 2007. So at the coach's press conference today, reporters were drooling over the storyline. He remained humble.
Anytime you're in it is an awesome experience. You know, it's hard to get here.
Austin's face still looms large on the stadium, sparking this question for the Riders' head coach.
What's it like coming to work every day and seeing Kent's picture on the side of the stadium as you come into work?
I actually come in the other way so I can see Roger.
There you go.
There you go.
The fans and the Riders' organization say the poster stays, that history trumps rivalry.
Kent Austin's homecoming into now enemy territory is only adding to the excitement, and Grey Cup frenzy has clearly begun. Bonnie Allen, CBC News, Regina.
Now, Saskatchewan is hoping to follow BC and Toronto's lead over the last 2 years and use home field advantage to their advantage and win the Grey Cup. This will be the final game at Mosaic Stadium, and the Riders are doing their best to keep their minds on playing Hamilton this weekend.
We're staying in the hotel. I'll do a good job in curfewing the guys and making sure their mindset's there and staying on their butts and making sure that we practice the right way. But this is a focused group, and I think they understand that we've come through a lot to get here and don't let anything derail us now.
Right now, we're just, I think, trying to figure everything out. You know, talking to a lot of family members and friends, people that are thinking about trying to make it to the game, tickets, all that stuff going on. So hopefully, you know, by the end of today, we can get all that stuff calmed down and start to concentrate on the game.
A reminder that the Office Varsity Boys Volleyball Championships begin tomorrow morning. Churchill are the city champs. They'll be joined by Dryden at the 20-team tournament. Both teams play their openers at 10:30. Eden High School from St. Catharines are back. They have won the provincial title 7 straight years. And the Raptors will try and snap a 2-game slide in Philadelphia tonight against the 76ers. And Josh Johnson, the former Jays pitcher, won 2 games last year, has signed a 1-year, $8 million deal with San Diego. $8 million and he won 2 games.
$4 million. Hey, let's go back to your Grey Cup for a moment. We're going to have to wait to the end of the week for your fearless prediction on that one?
Yes, sir.
Please pick Saskatchewan. Thanks, Randy.
All right, well, tonight we're discovering that once again, loyalty means nothing to the contestants on Survivor. With more, here's a complete lineup on Teletalk.
Tonight on Global Thunder Bay, starting at 8, it's Survivor, and someone's turning traitor on a loved one. Then at 9 on Sean Saves the World, a mole is leaking company strategies to a competitor. At 9:30 p.m. on The Michael J. Fox Show, Mike's folks come to town for Thanksgiving. And at 10 on Parenthood, Election Day has arrived and Christina and Adam are remaining optimistic. Over on CKPR Thunder Bay at 8, a natural product causes a stank in the Dragon's Den. Then at 9 p.m. on Republic of Doyle, Jake's fishing trip uncovers a murder mystery in the woods. And at 11:35, George talks with Academy Award winner Jeremy Irons. Teletalk is brought to you by Points, the traffic ticket specialists.
You could see in a couple of those sports pieces how cold it looked in Saskatchewan, Fiona, and they're continuing to see cool temperatures in the west.
Yeah, that's why we know those folks in Saskatchewan are uber fans when they're willing to experience that kind of temperature. In Thunder Bay, though, we've been let off very easy so far. Today we topped out with a high of 7 Celsius under cloudy skies, and that's with winds at times gusting up to 41 kilometers per hour, but it was all from the south-southwest, so a very warm flow. However, as you head further west, Vancouver, it's hard to believe they've actually experienced single digits today, so definitely below seasonal, although there's a fair amount of sunshine. Another very cold day in Alberta. Edmonton is experiencing wind chills of about -30 at this hour. Calgary, quite a bit warmer, a good 10 degrees warmer. However, this is still 10 degrees below normal for this time of year. So sunshine is not doing a whole lot in Alberta. Meanwhile, southern Saskatchewan has seen temperatures plummet in the last 24 hours. And right now, mainly clear skies, but when we think about the wind chill values, right now, Saskatoon is experiencing wind chills of -32, Regina -27. It is cold in southern Saskatchewan. Meanwhile, Winnipeg has seen temperatures consistently drop since 7 o'clock last night. It's been a downward direction. They're currently at -8 Celsius under cloudy skies. In southern Ontario, Toronto is seasonal, but has been seeing some clouds today. A little cooler in Ottawa and up into Montreal. They're currently at -3 under partly cloudy conditions. And Quebec City, mainly clear skies in Quebec, and they are expecting some more sunshine for tomorrow. So Thursday is going to be a really nice day in the capital of Quebec. And, okay, oh, we jumped a little bit. Right now in the Maritimes, very windy, very wet, and severe snowfall warning in effect for Newfoundland. All right. Okay, so we're having a little problems with the graphics today. We're going to move this along. And there we go. Okay, so today we had some precipitation to the south of us, and overnight tonight there is the potential for some more, especially to the west. You can see those darker colors. Those are the areas where there is a lot more moisture. However, with cooler air, this is likely to fall in the form of snow, and that's what we're keeping an eye on overnight tonight and into tomorrow. You can see we're just hitting the edge of it, so there is more of a risk of precipitation, but in the form of snow for the next 24 hours as this front moves through. We've got this cold front for Friday. And although it looks fairly dry, you can see to the west of us, we've got a chance at yet even more snow. So it's not heavy snow, but it's a continuing periods of precipitation through the region that could come in the form of snow. So we've got lots of chances to build up some of the white stuff for all of you skiers and snowboarders. Out to the west tonight, we've got snow all the way up into the Red Lake region. Temperature is below freezing, so that'll help support the accumulation and allow people to actually keep the snow around for a while. Sault Ste. Marie, though, above freezing, looking more at rainfall overnight tonight. And as we head into tomorrow, still a risk of snow to the east, but more sunshine to the west, but definitely on the cool side. You can see that cool air trying to work its way across the region. At this hour, we're at 5 Celsius. And tonight, a low of 2, couple of centimeters overnight, but it's not likely to stick around because first thing in the morning, we're looking at 1 Celsius under cloudy skies. We will top out tomorrow with a high of 2 again. By Friday, we're down to 0 with a possible afternoon shower, afternoon snow. -10, that's where the temperatures really drop is for the weekend. More potential for snow on the way. By Monday, cloudy skies back to -1. So I'd say within the next 4 days, we'll have something that looks white in Thunder Bay.
Time to get the shovels out, if not, make sure that the snowblower is ready, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks very much, Shona. Well, stay with us. When we return, we've got some weird and wonderful images to show you, courtesy of Mother Nature. It's all coming up right after these words.
Well, who says there's no order to the universe? Try telling that to these little guys in Malaysia. You're looking at a strange formation of koi fish, captured on amateur video earlier this year. This kind of fish is famous for its beautiful colors, but organization, not so much. The school of fish appeared to follow a leader in this unusual pattern for about 20 minutes, making for one dizzying display.
Trying to find their way out of the tank, I think. Anyway, that'll do it for tonight's look at news, weather, and sports. A reminder for News on Demand, log on to tvnewswatch.com. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you all again tomorrow.